Hi, everybody, and welcome. I am Alecia. I'm here with amazing, beautiful Black women creatives, and we're here to have a conversation. So thank you for being here. Hi, Albert. It's good to see you. Hi, Deshaun Burns. It's good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Now, so yes, we're here for conversation. To talk all things creative. But first, I would like to introduce my panel. Introduce the folks who are here. If you could, I'll say your name and then you can introduce yourselves and share all the things. Okay. So first, I'm going to start with what I see. Dani, if you could introduce yourself, please.
Hello, everyone. I'm so blessed and happy and grateful to be here today. I am an artist. I'm an aspiring forever learner, forever learning now, and aspire to continue learning each day. I am a writer. I am a researcher. I'm an encourager, a mentor, and I am currently building a website. So, all of these ladies here have inspired me on my journey towards creation and creating more for joy. So, that's who I am. Nice to meet you.
Yes. Thank you so much for sharing that, Dani, and congratulations. That's awesome. Marissa, you can go next, please.
Yeah, hi, Marissa Price. I am a social worker, healer, business educator, and a new author. I just released my book of affirmations, Cocoon, Affirmations for Transformation, yesterday. So, with the help of these wonderful women right here. But yeah, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you. Thank you again.
Yes, and congratulations. It's
Thank
amazing,
you.
by the way. Y'all should get it, and we're going to share it at the end. But yes, yes. Marissa T, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I am Marissa as well. I am a multidisciplinary artist. I do visual arts, I do some apparel design, and I love being creative. And I'm super inspired by everybody here. They have all been with me along this journey, and so I'm so grateful to be here with all of you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And Lavendula, if you could please introduce yourself as well.
Hello. As a lot of other people said, I am a creator. I go by the name Lavendula online. Bate is fine as well. I am a creator, I am a writer, and I am also a forever learner. And I'm really happy to be here with these ladies because I wouldn't have gotten here without them and meeting them in the garden. So happy to be here.
Yes, thank you for being here. And Vicky, please introduce yourself.
Hello, I am Vicky S. Joseph. I'm a public speaker. I'm a nice girl in recovery. I help women who are way too nice to be able to stand up for themselves, set healthy boundaries, and find their authentic voice and roar. I'm glad to be here.
Vicky, I love this.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for sharing that. I appreciate that.
Pleasure.
Yay. Yes, and hi, Shari. Um, it's okay. It's all good. It's good to see you. I'm gonna try to help you real quick. It's okay. It's all good. It's fine. It's fine. Give us 1 second. But yes, thank you. I'm gonna take you down and put you back up. Give me 1 second. Yay. Okay. Yes, so thank you for being here. I'm getting started. I do want to talk about creativity. So at Black Girl Creative, there are pillars that I've decided to use for Black Girl Creative, which are creativity, storytelling, well-being, generosity and abundance, and community, right? And so this is a reflection of community. This is a reflection of all of that. But I do want to ask you all individually, what is your definition of creativity? And what does it mean to you? Anybody can answer, you can jump in. Let's go, Marissa.
Yes. We're surprised. Okay.
Yes, Marissa Price. I'm sorry. I should,
No,
yes,
you're
Marissa
fine.
Price.
You're fine. I guess creativity means to me like expressing the feelings that you have inside, the feelings that we kind of like keep there. They might be like, suppressed, but expressing those via like whatever way brings you joy, whatever way brings you peace. So for me, that's writing. I love to write. Also love to draw, just like free draw, right? It doesn't have to be like stressful, or you don't have to be seeking perfection, which is one of the things we were taught in the garden, right? To unlearn perfectionism and embrace play. So whatever brings you joy, peace, and allows you to express those feelings that you have inside in a creative way.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you for that. Does anybody else want to share their definition or their take on creativity?
I can go.
Okay, sounds
Um,
good.
for me, creativity, I don't know like if it's like necessarily like a problem, but I this is the best word I can think of, like problem solving. So it could be like with anything. It could be like if there's food in the kitchen, like, how am I gonna make this into a meal? If it's my kid doesn't want to study, how do I make this fun? It's just like um, finding a way to live life in a more like joyful and expressive way.
Yes, thank you for that, Marissa T. I appreciate you sharing that because a lot of people think creativity is just like creating art or creating something for other people to consume, but like creativity isn't everything, right? So I appreciate you sharing that. Yes, yes. Anybody else want to share theirs?
I can hop
Lavendula. Go
in.
ahead, Vicky. Yeah, yeah, sure.
Well, for me, I see it as self acceptance, because from my experience, the more that accept all of my gifts, talents, and I step into my purpose, it's a lot easier for me to be able to create. When I'm at war with myself, when I'm trying to be someone that I'm not, that's when I feel like there's some resistance.
I love that, Vicky. Oh, yes, I want to come back to this. I do. Lavendula, do you want to share your definition of creativity? Please.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, yeah.
Not much different, but I will say expression by any means is what it means to me. So whether that's writing, that's body movement, that's I don't know, singing, all the senses, right? Any way I can express, that's what creativity is to me. So not for anyone else, and sometimes not even for joy. It's to literally just express. So
Expression by any means. I love that. I love that. Okay, Vicky, I do want to come back to what you were talking about being at war with yourself. Can you elaborate or can you explain what that looks like to be at war with yourself, even with creativity?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I love taking personality tests, right? So INFP, whatever it is, like I love taking them. And when I would get results that I felt like, this is boring, it was like, I don't want to be the peacemaker. I don't want to be the friendly person. I don't want to be this. I don't want to be that. I don't want to be the dove. I would rather be the peacock. They're more exciting. Like when I have those type of feelings, I am going further and further and further away from who I'm meant to be. I'm looking at someone else's feathers. I'm looking at someone else's light. I'm looking at someone else's magic, and I'm trying to recreate what someone else is doing as opposed to embracing the beauty that's within me, my wit, my charisma, all of those cool things that come natural to me. I'm diminishing it. I'm pushing it under the rug because I don't see the value in it.
Yes. Yes. I'm just like while you're talking, I'm just like, oh yes, like this comparison that we do to say
Yes.
like what what I am is not enough. What I have to offer is not good enough. Or what someone else is doing is more interesting or better than what I'm doing, right? And I guess for all of you, this question, like, have you ever like struggled with comparison, with comparing yourself to other people? And I'm like, I see the nods, like, yeah, like, but what was that experience like for you? If you can pinpoint an example or just use a general example, that's all good as well. Um, yeah. Go ahead, Dani. Yes, please.
I can go ahead and answer that one. When I notice I'm comparing myself to someone else, it usually starts off as an admiration. The biggest percentage of it is really admiration. Um, and then once I start looking at myself, if I am unclear in what pieces I was admiring, that can turn into something that does mirror comparison. Sort of like an example of, and for me, creativity would really be like sovereignty, this idea of like complete independence and self expression. It's like having autonomy and choice and having silence in whatever way I might need that, or stillness. And so when I have that comparison, maybe I didn't allow myself that space, to be able to pull apart and look at the individual pieces, which is my perspective, and then I mislabel it as comparison instead of understanding these pieces that are all me. And maybe I saw a reflection of me in someone else or something else, and I didn't know yet how to connect with it. So I'm comparing myself to it. It's like a lack of mindset, a scarcity mindset is really what I'm thinking about when I notice I'm comparing myself to others. Um, yeah, those are some things that just came to mind. So
No, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Like realizing those are pieces of yourself, right? Reflections of yourself that you see in someone else. Like that's actually kind of freeing, right? Like you don't have to condemn yourself, right? It's just like you observe like, oh, I see this and I like this. And we talked a little bit about that with envy, right? Like this idea of envying other people. And it's like we don't envy people that we don't want to do what they're doing, right? Like we don't envy, people that we're not drawn to or things that they're doing that we're not drawn to, right? But it's like, no, we envy people because we see something in them that we want to be doing. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's it. And so if we just give ourselves the freedom and the ability to pursue it in our own way, like that can be freeing instead of like, oh, I'm comparing myself, I'm less than, nah, go ahead and take it. You know what I mean? So thank you, Dani. I appreciate that. Thank you. Anybody else want to share their experience with comparison or envy or anything like that? Please do.
Yeah, I'll go.
Go ahead.
After Dani, the speaker. Yeah, that was a good explanation. All I have to add to that is like when I was coming to terms with publishing the poetry book, I ran into a lot of bouts of comparison to other people's books with 50 plus pieces in it, or a lot more, I don't know, constructed, more grammatically correct, more academically sound, all those things. Um, and I didn't think mine would ever measure up. Ultimately ended up publishing it anyway, despite all of that. But yeah, that comparing my work to other people's is the biggest example. But second, everything Dani said, I have nothing else to add. What she said was perfect. But yeah.
Yes, and thank you for sharing that. First of all, I should have the book on hand, but I will be sharing it. The collection that you created, like this idea of it not being long enough, right? Or it not being grammatically correct, whatever. Like, it's perfect. Like it's perfect. And I think, no, seriously, like it's perfect. And I think that sometimes like that comparison thing, like, oh, this is how it's supposed to look. This is how it's supposed to be done. Like these expectations that people just made up, like, okay, this is how it has to be done. When really that's getting in the way of us actually sharing this stuff. And I'm glad that you shared what you shared. I didn't find anything grammatically incorrect about it, but that's just, yay! Dani has it. Yes. Thank you, Dani.
Thank you.
Yes. It is an amazing piece. And it's, even though it is, someone would say like it's an easy read, right? Like you can read it, but to sit and digest and to think, like it causes you to think and to feel. And I think if it was longer or too long, right? Like it might not evoke that same time to sit and think about and marinate on what you're saying, right? Like, because what you're saying is still deep and impactful. So anyway, but yes, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. I appreciate that. Thank you, Dani, for sharing that. Yes. Anybody else want to talk about comparison or their experiences? Yes, please get it, y'all. Anybody else? No pressure. Go ahead, Marissa. Yes, Marissa Price.
Yeah. I would say like when I was in the toxic job I was in, I struggled with that a lot. Just because feeling like unsatisfied with where I was at in life and seeing everyone like live the life that I wanted to. But once I was able to kind of metabolize that into inspiration and see the people that I was envying and seeing what they were doing and be like, I can do that too. I have the power to do that. And they're actually giving me the blueprint that I can go after. So once I was able to do that, that kind of changed things for me. So yeah.
Marissa, this, right? Like seeing people not being intimidated, or, I mean, intimidation that's like a natural feeling sometimes, but like feeling inspired and like, oh, using them as the blueprint as opposed to like seeing them as the enemy, or with that scarcity mindset that Dani was talking about, right? Like this idea of like, oh, no, this is actually someone who has paved the way for me, right? Like, so yeah, that's amazing and that's beautiful. And Marissa's book is also beautiful as well. So we're going to share that as well then. But yes. Anyone else want to share anything on comparison or anything like that? It's also no pressure if you don't want to. Okay. So I do want to talk about one thing that Lavendula said about creating even when it's not joyful, right? Like, because I think that we can get kind of in our heads about like, oh, if it's not positive or if it's not uplifting or if I'm not all the way healed, right, by experiencing it, in my experience, if I'm not all the way healed, then I can't share what I want to share. And I love that you said that creativity doesn't have to be for other people; it can be for yourself. So I want to ask you all if you all have any experience of using creativity, like in your healing process, in your grieving process, right? Like in falling apart, like, and what does that look like? I would love to hear you all's experience with that.
I guess
Anybody?
I can
Go.
go.
Yeah, yeah, please.
Yeah, creativity has been such a amazing tool for me in my healing process. A few years back, I was like in a terrible, terrible job and a rough spot in my relationship, and I had like forgotten that I even liked to be creative. I hadn't like painted or done anything creative in like maybe like 10 plus years. And I got to a really like dark place where I didn't even like feel comfortable like introducing myself to people because I was just so ashamed of where I had come to, and I couldn't express myself in words anymore. Um, and somehow, like, it came to me that, like, because I couldn't really speak anymore, it's really hard to articulate it, but the only thing that I could do was really, like, sing the feelings. Um, and it changed my life. It opened up my world. And there are so many songs, and they're not good songs. They're sad, but they changed my life, and I'm so grateful to creativity for that.
I appreciate you sharing that, Marissa T. And I resonate with that feeling of sometimes you don't have the words. Sometimes you're all like worded out. You know what I mean? You're too exhausted. Like there, sometimes like the depth of that frustration and pain can be like there are no words for it. I mean, you feel inarticulate, but like even with singing, that still is articulating something, right? That still is communicating something. And I love that. I love that you said like even singing that. Even for myself, there's a lot of belief that I have around like creating sound and moving energy, even if there are no words to it, right? Like even if it don't make sense to other people, like it makes sense to you. Like you're creating these sounds with your voice, like your body knows what it's trying to communicate. Your soul knows what it's communicating, and it doesn't have to be for anybody else. And I agree that even songs that are sad, people would say sad, right? Like bittersweet, melancholy, whatever word people want to use, those songs are healing. Like like those songs are healing. Like if every song was happy go lucky all the time, I'd be like, am I crazy? Like is something wrong with me? Like I am not happy right now. Everything's not like happy go lucky. There are complicated emotions that we experience as humans, and that wide range of emotion expressed through creativity is helpful, I think, for everyone on any journey. It doesn't matter like where you are. I feel like we all have that one song that we go to cry to. You know what I mean? Or like, to rage out with. Like I have music that I'm just like, I'm angry. Let me play some rock. Let me get this out of me. But it's helpful and it's beautiful and it's a vulnerable thing even to share with yourself. Like even if nobody else sees it, it's courageous to be able to say, I'm going to create something that might not even make sense to other people, but for me that I need for myself. So I appreciate that, Marissa T. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you. Anybody else want to share?
I want to add on to that.
Sure.
I felt like there was a season in my life where I was doing spoken word poetry, back in the day. But my whole thing was I lost in the art of performance. I ended up losing the beauty of writing poetry for myself, because in my mind I'm like, someone's going to hear this. So I need to censor myself. So, I wouldn't put that in there. I wouldn't say this in there. And so I had to kind of balance that. Okay, this is for me. It may not, make it to anyone else's ears to hear, but that was a fight for me. A lot of times when you are the performer or you have to present things, you're the influencer. A lot of times it's hard to find you in all of it. And also when with your gifts and talents, I always hear people say things like, oh, your gift is not for you. People are waiting on you, and it's like, wait a second. So I can't do this for me. I got somebody waiting on me. Somebody's life is on the line. And it's like, is there so much pressure? You know what I mean? So when do I create for me if someone's life is attached to my assignment and all this other stuff that people say? There's so much like weight in that. And even like the beautiful parable of like the talents. if I don't use this talent, I'm going to get in trouble if I don't do it this way, if I don't do it that way. And so these are the things that keep me up at night. So yeah, I'll pause there.
Wow.
Vicky, there was so much
That,
there.
that, that was a lot.
Right? Yes. There was so much there, and I think that shame, right? Like there's so much shame in that. Like in something that is supposed to be freeing and uplifting and healing and something that is supposed to accompany you on your journey. It can feel like it's not yours. Like you don't belong to yourself. Like your gifts don't belong to you. It belongs to someone else first. And I do agree. As a performer, as someone who shares their stuff, there is this pressure of like, I'm creating and I want to create, but I feel blocked because now all this pressure is on me to like, is this going to translate well? Are people going to understand this? Is this going to make sense to other folks? Right. So before it belongs to me, it belongs to everybody else's. It belongs to everybody else. Right. It's everybody else's first. And that idea of like belonging to yourself, I feel like as Black women specifically and women specifically, like women, especially in this culture, like we don't belong to ourselves, like from other people's viewpoints, right? We belong to ourselves, but like from other people's viewpoints, we don't. Like we are an accessory, we are a helpmeet, we are like all these other things to other people. But it's like, when do Black women get to be themselves? When do they get to create for themselves? Yeah, and like your gift turns into like a burden, right? Like it turns into like this thing, and even that idea in Christian spaces, like this idea of like, oh, if I don't use my talents, it's going to be taken away. So does that mean I need to be busy with my talent all the time? Does it mean I always need to be creating? Does it mean that it's almost like capitalism, except in Christian form, like this idea of like production, always producing, always making, and not really allowing, I don't know. I have thoughts. I have a lot of thoughts. It's giving enslavement for me, like this idea of like what is for me has to be for everybody else always. Yeah. So anyway, there's a lot of thoughts. But yes, Vicky, all of this. I'm gonna come back to that because yes.
I'm thinking.
Oh, please, yes, please, Shari. Yes. And hi.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
I was just thinking what Vicky said. Wow, that was deep. I'm thinking out loud right now. I'm thinking our gifts are given to us, so it should start with us because it was given to us, and the only way we can really know what kind of gift we have to figure it out, and then we can share it with the world and everything. And sometimes we are, I don't know. That is something I never thought about that. Where our gifts, is it for other people or for us? And I'm thinking now at this point in my life is for me to help me figure out so I can share it with other people, but not hold my voice back because other people might not get it, kind of thing. So that's my thought out loud. That was it.
No, yes. Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing that. I appreciate that.
that,
And
that was
I'm
it.
thinking out loud too.
Um,
That was profound.
but also,
But mhm.
oh, I'm sorry. I think you asked a question about how do we get started, like something about grief and everything else.
Oh yeah, so saying that we use our creativity for more than just joy, right? Like it doesn't have to be like just this happy experience. How we use creativity in our healing process or in our grieving process, that kind of thing. So yes.
Oh,
Yes.
yes, that's how I got here.
Oh yeah, please
I got
share.
here through grief. I lost a friend unexpectedly, and two other people I knew helped me find my voice because they said I was writing, but I didn't think it was good. I was just writing, and it was like, "Is this is good?" And I'm like, "No, it's not. I'm just pouring out my feelings." And over time, I started looking at it differently. I started pouring out my grief. I started pouring out my sadness. I started pouring out my depression. I started pouring out my anxiety. I was pouring out everything. And as far as music, oh, I had a sad songs playlist. I go down the playlist, listen to it because to me, if you know somebody else wrote a song that fits your mood, that uplifts me because I'm like, somebody gets it. So I'll be singing loud. I'd be singing like with tears in my eyes. I might hum along, but sad songs, oh, I love them. I love happy songs too, but sad songs, I gotta have them. They're a part of me. And it's part of who I am. But yes, grief got me here, and over time, I learned I did not have to always write in sadness. It took me a while to get there. I can show other sides of me besides my sadness. I can show my silly side. I can show my thinking side. I can show whatever sides of me comes out. The little girl, the big girl, the girl who's wondering, the woman who's trying to come out. I can embrace it all. But sadness is always going to be how I started. So
No, thank you so much
that
for
was
sharing
it.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that is encouraging and uplifting, because I think in this, this culture of like toxic positivity, where everything, like, there has to be the rainbow there has to be a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, or a rainbow after the rainstorm, whatever. But like, sometimes we fast forward through the rainstorm because we're worried about how that's going to be perceived by other people, right? But like, you being in the darkness, in that rain, in that, and I don't even want to use negative language with grief, because grief is necessary, right? Like, it is beneficial. Like, sadness is beneficial. But we've attributed these negative, definitions to these words, because it's inconvenient for some people, because they don't know how to deal with negative things. I'm stuttering. Negativity. And I think that even though it took you a minute to come out of the sad writing, it was necessary. Like, that's a part of the grief process, right? Like, there is no timeline. You know what I mean? Like, there is no rush to rush through the sadness. Like, we need that. We need people to be honest about that. We need people to be, creating the sad music, so that we can weep to it and heal, because in weeping there is healing, right? So, but yes, thank you, Shari, for sharing that. And I'm really sorry to hear that about your friend. I'm really sorry to hear that, but thank you. Yes, Dani, go ahead, please.
So, thank you. Yes, Shari, thank you for that. That set me up beautifully. um, because for me, creativity has helped me, and watching other women, like in the garden, be creative, that really showed me ways that I can also express my creativity. So healing through my childhood trauma is one of the most important ways that I'm using creativity right now. To heal your loop series, Alecia, I had never seen someone use their voice in the way that you do, and how you make loops. That has really aided in my ability to write down my feelings. And even that has, I, in the beginning of the years when we started the garden, so now I can say I have been speaking out loud for myself more than I ever have in my life. I'm doing it in much more assertive ways. And I know that it's okay. Like, even how you stuttered just now, every time you do that, my heart just gets so like big, because I'm like, you are just saying something so impactful. Like, we needed that emphasis. You're giving our brain a second to pause and really digest what's about to come. Like, that's how I really feel about your stutter. And your voice, it just like sets a really safe foundation for me to then express and let out. And so I'm not letting out alone. I'm in community, and you're not there's not no words to distract me. And so with singing and dancing, creating solo and collectively, all of that helps in my healing journey. So being able to express myself fully. So being able to do it alone, knowing how that might look, and then doing it in community, knowing what a safe community is like, knowing the details that you're individually searching for in that safe community, because it can, in different phases in life, that community might look different. You might need it to look different. There might need to be different people or personalities within that group in each phase. But the garden this whole year has been just what I needed. So, yeah.
Yes.
That makes my heart
Yes.
happy.
Yes.
Dani, that makes my heart happy. That collection of music, we're talking about not having words, right? Like, that collection of music was created like during like my meditation time, my morning time, like at points where I didn't have words, right? Like, and so in my mind, I'm like, oh, nobody wants to hear this. You know what I mean? Like, it's just noise, but it's just harmonies, but I feel it when I'm creating. And so like putting it out there and seeing how it was received really like made me step back and say, okay, like there is something to having it here first, right? When we're talking about owning our own creativity first, like doing it for ourselves first. If I was thinking about like, oh, I need to create music to help other people, to like, it needs to be positive and encouraging, it needs to have words, I wouldn't have created anything, because I would just been like, this is too much, it's overwhelming. But knowing that just like using my voice in a very simple way was helpful is freeing to me. So Dani, I really appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. Yeah, because I have blocks in my mind. Like, what should art look like? How should it be felt? How should it be communicated? And all of that can serve as bondage if we're not careful. Like, it can serve as more hurdles for us to jump over instead of like an invitation. Like, let's lean into that. Let's lean into that real feeling. So I appreciate that, Dani, and I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Thank you. All of that. Thank you so much. Would anybody else have anything to add to that at all? To the feeling of the process? It's okay if not. Because I do want to talk about community. Dani. You brought that up. Knowing what good community is, right? Like, knowing what you need. Because sometimes we're just so, I know for myself, I have been so desperate for community that I didn't really specify like what I needed, what I'm looking for, what the, parameters are. I'm just like, I just need something. So Dani, if you could you expound a little bit on this idea of knowing what you need and knowing what is safe and what that looks like for you, please?
Yes, I can. Okay, I have this cute little story that my mom told me when I was really young, like toddler. We would be out in public, and if people, or no, I wouldn't say toddler. I was able to talk, but if someone were to say, "Oh, look at that little girl, she's so cute," I would say, "Me? Thank you." And I'd run up to them and give them a big hug. And my mom would be like, "Stranger, oh my goodness." But and she told me, reminded me as an adult that I used to do that. But that story just really resonates with me because it reminds me that this love that I give, the way that I express my gratitude and my appreciation, it's really for me. It's really because that's how I naturally express myself. And it feels really good when I'm able to offer something like that, especially because it's free. I mean, if I'm working on myself and I feel good about myself, why not let someone else feel good about themselves? Especially if they've done something to help me feel good about myself, or even if they haven't and I just am feeling it within myself to offer something like that. And so I have been in community, and even as a child in certain family dynamics, I didn't always receive what I was giving. And with the childhood trauma piece that I'm healing from, I'm learning that that did not deter me from giving love anyway. However, I was around certain people who were very happy to take all that love I was giving, and then it became a standard. And then in college, there are certain people who make it, in the relationship, it's an expectation that's built in. Like, I like that you are like this way, and so I always want you to be this way. And in college, you're changing. Like, if you're the same from the first 2 years and in the last 2 years alone, like, I don't know, that wasn't my experience, at least. And so once I found the garden, I was like, oh, everyone gets nervous like me too. Like, everyone has these like things that they're working on mentally, and everyone around, like, everyone would share in the garden an insecurity, and then other people would say, "Oh wow, but I never would be able to tell, never," or "Really, because these are the strengths I see about you." And you will work through that, and I empower you and I encourage you in any support you need. And that just feels very natural to the women and the others that were in the group. And so when I think of community, I would like to compare it to something where the way I express myself naturally is being reflected in the people that I'm around.
Yes. First of all, my heart is happy. Thank you for sharing that. It was nourishing to me. Like, the garden is nourishing to me. Like, even though it's a space created, like, I get everything I need. Like, I feel leaving empowered and seen and heard and valued. And it makes me happy to know that other people feel that same way. And I resonate with your story of like giving love. Like, that's all I've done, right? Is give love, but everybody's not safe. Everybody doesn't honor it. Right. And it doesn't mean that, like, and I've been working through this myself, like, not regretting the love I gave to other people. Like, I don't regret the love I gave because I meant it. I love them, right? But there is there is pain, of course, when you realize like, oh, you're not a safe space. You didn't honor me. You honored what I could do for you, right? Like instead of like the relationship itself. And that took like a lot of that took a lot of facing the truth, which is hard. That took a lot of even I tried to change myself, like, oh, maybe I need to change, maybe I need to do less or whatever. And it's like, no, they're just not the right people. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing wrong with me. So yeah, so that makes me happy to know that you felt that way in the garden. That makes me happy. Because like I said, I'm very about creating things involving other people. It's important to me that people feel honored, that people feel loved. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want people to ever feel like, oh, you're just a person, because you're not just a person. You know what I mean? So anyway, yes. So thank you, Dani, for sharing that. I appreciate that. Yes, please,
Okay.
Shari, please. Yeah.
Okay, Dani, why you go there? I almost put my camera off, but I'm like, okay, no, just let my tears come down. Alecia, you have accomplished it. And everybody here, I'm sorry, I'm just so emotional right now. This has been a community I did not expect. And this has been a place that helped me in so many different ways. Helped me see my own voice in a different kind of way. I could say so much more when I'm writing, but right now it's just that my tears are happy tears. And please, everyone here, and even the ones who see it later or whatever, but especially the ones I see faces I have seen again or may have chatted with, y'all have meant so much and helped me in my journey. And I thank you all for helping me find this community. And Alecia, thank you for this garden. It helped me blossom in a way that I never knew I can blossom and see myself. So yeah, excuse me, because I'm just like really, really, and I'm trying not to turn my camera off because I would go running high right now. But I tell everybody, let your tears show, the good, the bad, the ugly, and even the ugly cry. So forgive me. I'm just letting it, not forgive me, but just understand. I am feeling really emotional, but it's a good place right now. So
Listen,
yeah,
I'm all
so
for you.
everybody.
Yes, absolutely. You know, I'm here for the tears. And thank you for being vulnerable and brave enough to be emotional, to show emotion, to express. Again, I don't have any words. I'm just grateful. I'm just grateful. I'm happy. Because you all create that space. You all are a safe space for each other, right? And I think that's the beauty of community, right? Is helping other people feel seen, helping other people feel less alone. And helping people wherever they are, like not there is like this, oh, I'm trying to get you to this place, but it's like even in the place that the person is, that you're in a relationship with, that you're in community with, can you still show up for them wherever they are, whatever that looks like, right? And I think that's a really important piece. So thank you, Shari, for sharing that. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Ooh, I don't even know where to go from there, but I'm because I'm like, you get me choked up, but I really appreciate that. I do want to ask about community in general. Have you ever felt like an aversion, I guess, to joining community, belonging to community, or like collaborating, whatever it is, with other folks? And if you have, please share your experiences. I have. So, but yes. I guess I'll go first. So I've experienced growing up, being an overachiever, doing way too much. I have experienced pulling the heavier load than everybody else. And that has worn me out. It exhausts me, and it makes me not even want to collaborate with, commune with, connect with other people, because I might as well just do it by myself. I could do bad all by myself. I can write this paper by myself. I can, whatever it is, right? I can put on this program by myself. And I think that because of being burned in those situations, I think it just caused me to be like, it's less drama when I'm alone. Like it's less like I can beat myself up all day. Okay, I can beat myself up all day, but being around the wrong people, I don't need to beat myself up, and you beat me up as well. You know what I mean? Also, like the feeling of letting people down, like that's a big one for me. A lot of reasons why I don't collaborate, or not that I don't, but I have an aversion to it, is because I'm afraid of not meeting someone else's standards, right? Like I know what I can do. I know what I can, but when other people are expecting me to do something, I feel the pressure I don't want to ruin their thing. And so I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to opt out. I'm not going to apply. I'm not going to try because I don't want to harm whatever they're doing. And I know that some people don't feel the want or desire to be in community for a myriad of different reasons. But those are the main two reasons for me that have kept me out of, like, I don't want to, like, being overworked and being exploited, and also feeling like I'm ruining things for people. And that's a whole other thing. That's a whole other issue, feeling sorry and apologetic for existing. But yeah, those are my two reasons. Anybody else want to share the reason why they don't want to, or they felt like they didn't want to collaborate or anything like that? And if not, that's also amazing that you haven't felt that way. Sure, go ahead, Marissa T. Yes.
I have definitely felt like that, and I can totally relate to you when you're saying like a fear of like letting other people down and like not meeting their standard. For me, it's always been like a deep feeling like that I'm gonna be a bother, that I'm gonna like be too much, or being seen as like not genuine, because like I'm like a kind of like, I am pretty kind, and like and I always want to like reach out to people and make sure that they feel seen, because a lot of times like I haven't felt seen, or I felt like kind of pushed to the side. So if I see greatness in people, I always try and like call it out, but then I'm always like, oh, am I annoying? Am I a bother? And so I really try to like have avoided community often. And so I really did need the garden. I think our first day you said, what did you hope to get from this? And I hoped that I could begin to believe that I belonged in the community. And I truly feel like that with everybody in the garden. So I'm so grateful. It was a crying kind of day. But like Shari said, they're happy tears, tears of just like disbelief that, you know, that genuine connections can happen, being accepted can happen, making mistakes and it being a safe place to be like, oh, I flopped that, my bad, and still being accepted, you know, the next day. Like that was amazing and healing experience.
Oh, Marissa T, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing this. I'm trying, like, first of all, you know how, like, whatever. It's a lady days, and I'm emotional, and I'm trying, like, to keep it, no, you gotta keep it together. So I appreciate you sharing that. I really do appreciate you all's vulnerability. It's so brave to share that. It's so brave to share you all's story. Yeah, and admitting that feeling of, like, I haven't felt seen. And I think, so that same feeling, like, feeling invisible, feeling left out, feeling like you're kind of the outcast, not putting this on you, but like that feeling, I know what that feels like, and I don't want people to feel that way. Like I don't want people to feel that way. Yeah, so I appreciate you sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. And yeah, much love to you guys. I wish I could give you all a hug if you all like hugs, but yes. Yes. Anybody else want to share?
I could hop in here.
Yes, please.
For me, I felt like I've always had community, but something shifted when, like, on Facebook, you know, those little Facebook pages where it changed to public figure. I was just doing it for fun. Now, wait a second, I need a makeup artist before wait, hold on now. I need to have a stylist before when I go to the conferences, it's show and tell now. So I need to tell you what I have going on. I'm adulting and life is hard right now. That's all I got. So I slowly stopped going to a lot of those big conferences and all that, because I just felt like I don't have anything going on. I'm not creating. So therefore I have nothing to contribute. And you know what, whoever it fits for, that's who it fits for. The girl boss, you sleep when you die, go. And I know within the pandemic, when it was like, if you don't become a millionaire when we leave this pandemic, you didn't do it right. If you didn't, and it was like, are you bullying me? Like, what's going on? Like, wait a second. Like, people are sick. Like, what's going on? Like, we're literally like, we're wearing masks like every day. Like, life is happening. And you want me to be a millionaire at the end of this thing? And so I was like, okay, I don't fit. I don't like this title. I don't fit here. I don't fit there. And what I love about the garden is the fact that my baby steps count. Yes. They add. I don't need to be the expert. Yes. can just show up as me, and that's enough. I could crack jokes. I could be my silly self. And that's what it's all about. And like, I just feel this feels like home to me. Like, this feels like home. It feels like a safe space. Like, I know we're live, but I feel like I'm just chatting with the girl. Like, it's just, you know, it's just us, how we normally do it, you know, once a week. And that's what it feels like to me, even though we are live. It feels like home, like we're just shooting the breeze.
That is like the best thing you can say. Okay. I am blushing. And I agree. I agree. And Vicky, first of all, I'm cracking up. When you're talking about if you don't come out this pandemic with $1 million, honey, I'm trying to come out with my life.
Exactly.
You talk about $1 million.
Come on now. What is going on?
Oh my gosh. But that makes me, my cheeks hurt. I'm swallowing so hard. But that makes me really happy. Because this does feel conversational, like, and it does feel like we just hanging out and talking. And I love that even like each one of you has their own, like, it's like a mosaic. I keep talking about this. Like, each one of you has your own personality, your own background, your own something beautiful to offer and to give. And I think that what community shows is like, we all are important. We all do work together, and there is space for all of us, right? And even for those spaces that talk about like the girl boss and like the, you know, I'll sleep when I die crowd, a lot of me feels like that's not even who they are really. A lot of those people who are there, that's not who they are. You know what I mean? That's who they were taught that they had to be. They were taught that they had to prioritize this, that like, and I honestly feel like a lot of people who think that way are not comfortable with actually being themselves. It's always something more to get, something more to attain. Like, they can't sit still. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, they can't be in the moment. And that makes me sad, actually. Like, this idea of always striving and always chasing something and taking a time where people are losing their lives. People are losing their homes. Like, people are in distress. And the first thing you can think of is, how do I make myself more? Like, not how do I keep myself safe? How do I tap into the people that are around me, community? Like, I feel like, and even though we're still in the pandemic, like, I feel like at the height of it, or when everything was, you know, chaotic, more chaotic than what anyway, I still think it's chaotic. That's another conversation. But I do believe that it called me to reflect on like what is important. Like, all this stuff that we're focusing on, a lot of this, it's just not important. It's just not important. It just, you know, when you're worried about whether your parents are going to fare well, when you're worried about your grandparents, your like children, when you're worried about yourself, you know, the people that you love, all that extra stuff should go out the window. You know what I mean? But it's like the fact that it's almost like they couldn't face their own mortality. And not that we should be focusing on dying, right? But like, I can earn enough money to save myself from this awful experience, right? Like, I can earn myself out of this fear. And it's like, no, like, that is still fear-based. Like, you doing things, that is still fear. Anyway, so there's a whole lot there. There's a whole lot there. But what I'm grateful for is that you all feel the ability, you all feel like you're able to relax a little bit. Like, whatever you've been carrying for the week, like when we met that like once a week for whatever we're doing, co-creating or whatever it is, like for an hour and a half, 2 hours, 2.5 hours, like we can just sit and for a second just be ourselves, right? And be ourselves with people who get it, who understand it. So that's huge for me. That's huge for me. Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else want to share anything about community? Yes. Anybody else want to share anything else about community or? Sure. Yes, please, Marissa.
Yeah. So I will say, like, I had an aversion to community because I'm so sensitive. I'm a very sensitive person. So when I have been in community in the past, my feelings have gotten hurt easily. But I think being in the garden, it really felt like a safe place to share. And on the days that I didn't want to share, I felt comfortable to do that. Just have my camera off and type in the chat. So it felt really soft. And I think Black women don't have soft places to heal and share enough in this world. So yeah, that was very important.
That makes me happy. Soft. I love that. I love that word, soft. And I do agree with that. Like, the world is so hard. The world is so hard on everyone, right? And especially Black women. Like, the world is just hard. Like, there's no grace for Black women. And the fact that you could say that it was soft, I take that as like a compliment to like the 10th degree. So that really makes my heart happy. That makes my heart happy. Okay. So I do. Oh, sure. Please, Dani, please. Yes.
Yeah, just one last thing. Like with all of us in the garden, we're not expecting anything from each other. So when I get a compliment and it really reflects something that I really needed to hear, it means that much more because someone had to really hear me and really feel me and really care enough to go out of their way to reach out to me. So that's also what the garden offered.
Thank you for sharing that.
Mhm.
Thank you for sharing that. That's profound. That's actually really profound, Dani.
It
Thank you
is.
so much. I do. If nobody else wants to offer anything, that's also okay. I do wanna switch gears a little bit and talk about your own creative processes, right? Like what that looks like, what fills your creative well. I do want to ask you if there's anything that gets in the way of your creative process first. Like what gets in the way of you creating? We talked a little bit about it, comparison, but if you can think of anything else that gets in the way of your creativity, please share if you want to. Um I'll start. I think for me, we talk about comparison. I also think again worrying about the end product, worrying about money, worrying about how it's going to be received, right? Um Overthinking it. I think sometimes trying to be in my head, trying to make sense of things, and I'm trying to become more okay. I'm trying to be more okay with things not making sense, things not having to make sense for it to exist. Giving myself permission to like because everything in the human experience does not make sense. Like some stuff I'm just like what and why, you know what I mean? And it still exists, and I think that my art, even if it doesn't make sense to other people, deserves to exist. It doesn't have to be what other people think it has to be. Also, letting go of labels. What people like, oh, you are a this. And so this is all I can do. This is all I can be. And it's like, no, I'm Alecia. I'm human. I do a lot of things. And I might put down one thing. I don't want to be limited to a label. So that's for me. But anybody just want to share things that get in the way of their creativity or their creative process, please do. Please share.
Yeah, I guess I can share.
Sure, yes.
Perfectionism. Perfectionism often gets in the way. Well, before the garden, because the garden like changed my life, like as I tell you all the time. But just like feeling like everything has to be just so, and especially coming from the corporate world, banking, where everything does have to be like just so. Really tapping back into like it's okay. It's okay for things to just be, and it doesn't have to be perfect. I don't have to be striving for something. I can just create it, put it out there, release it, and that's it. I don't have to worry about it looking perfect all the time because that kind of put me in a stranglehold when it comes to my creativity before the garden. So yeah.
Thank you, Marissa, for sharing that. And that's a great point. Like coming from the world that like the world that we might work in or the world that we study in, how that really shapes and forms how we do everything else. Like we feel like, oh, if I can't do it 100%, I'm not going to do it, right? Or I'm not going to share it because no, I'm not doing that. I appreciate you sharing that. I do want to ask you, and I want everyone else to share it as well, but I do want to ask you for yourself, how did you work through that? Like even though like the garden, yes, but like what came about that you were able to be like, okay, let me actually see myself as like a full human being and not just because I get the money part. Like
Hmm.
money is like the
Hmm.
numbers have to be numbering.
Yeah.
So yeah, so for yourself, please share.
Yeah, I think just playing, like revisiting the things that I enjoyed doing as a child. I know that has been important for me. Just giving myself space and time to write, create, whatever that looks like for me. So that could be like dancing, music, anything that gives me that creative outlet. Because again, being in a corporate environment, it feels very robotic all day. And then trying to transition to like your creative mind can be difficult sometimes. But if you are able to carve out those spaces during the day, even if they're little pockets, I think that has been very helpful for me just to give myself time and space to reconnect with what I like to do. Yeah.
I love that play. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Because I do feel like that playfulness is taken away from us at a very young age, like 5. I mean, for the most part, depending on when you entered, if you were unless you were homeschooled or something. But like this having to be robotic, we learn at a very early age. So you getting back to that is huge. That's huge. Anybody else want to share their experience? Please, Shari. Yes, please.
Yes. For me, it was everything all y'all said. I can add that on, but also I can add on not being good enough held me back. and it still was holding me back even before I joined the garden. It was not being good enough, and I realized I wrote so much stuff, and I kept writing, and I kept writing, and I kept trying to improve, and I kept trying to expand my writing, and I kept saying, still, like, I need to get a little better. And then just right now, it just occurred to me that I thought, I just lost a thought. I thought my voice was not enough or I thought my voice was not needed because I felt like it was not needed in the past, you know, or it was not heard in the past. So why would somebody want to hear it now? Oh, and sometimes you will show people your writing and you might just test it out a little bit and they say, oh, it's cute, it's sweet. Oh, I hate that. Especially because it's, even when it's cute, I put some thought into it. Even when it's sweet, I put some thought into it. It's just not, I just wrote something and I just gave it to you. Oh, it's still cute and sweet. Or you give something to somebody in the past and it was deep and they'll just look at it and they'll look at you and you're like, okay, they don't get it. And then because you make the mistake in thinking because they didn't get it, other people not going to get it either. But there are people who's going to get it. Or I would write a certain way and people were just like, or just ignore it, whatever. But when I came here, when I wrote the way I wrote or text the way I text or message the way I message, I was so amazed that people like, oh, I like it. Or, oh, that's the way. Oh, I love how you do that. And I was like, really? Really? And I'm like, I'm like taking it all in. And I'm like, because in the past, it was been ignored. Oh, it's so cute. And it's so sweet. And I hate the S word sometimes. It's so sweet. Because sometimes when people say the sweet word, it's no substance. You can be sweet and still have substance, the way people say it. But here, along with the garden, along with therapy, along with just reading a lot of self-help books, along with even reading the Bible, along with my spiritual side, along with everything, all of it helped me get to the point to now. And this was a big aid in adding on to my journey that it's okay to simply be me. It's okay to write the way I write. It's okay to be happy, sad. And something Danny you said, sometimes I don't always want to be happy, but people expect that of me. Have the big smile, and then when I show the other side, oh, we don't like that side of you. But that's a part of me too. That is a part of me. It may not always be the biggest part of me, but one time that was the biggest part of me. And I had to learn over time, finding that balance. You can go from A, where you're too angry all the time, and go to Z, where you're too happy all the time. Ha, ha. And inside you're hurting. So I realized I have to find that balance, Where can I be myself? Sometimes I'm sad, sometimes I'm happy, sometimes whatever. My balance is kind of thing. So, yes, in the past, it's always been I was not good enough. My voice not good enough. Who wants to hear it? But now I'm thinking the right people will find your voice. So the garden was that extra push I need to learn how it's okay being Shari. It's okay. That's why I put down it's okay being simply Shari, the butterfly that has wings and always been flying, but never knew she was flying. So y'all will make me cry. But it's good tears. It's good tears, girl. I'm telling you, good tears. And somebody knows here. It was like in different one. Yeah, the butterfly thing. Yes, I'm just leave it as that. Okay.
The butterfly who didn't know that she was always flying, right? Like that. That is profound. That is deep. That is deep. I resonate with that. I resonate with you sharing, and your tears are beautiful, by the way. Your tears are beautiful. You're sharing about how there were parts of you that you had to play for other people, right? Like almost like playing a role for other people and not really being a full you. And I know how that feels, and it's heartbreaking because like when it feels like there is no, yes, thank you, gorgeous one. Mm-hmm. When it feels like there's no room for all of you, like you have to keep being the person that people expect you to be. And what people don't understand is that your joy is beautiful, yes, but so is your sadness, so is your sorrow, so is your, not that it's the opposite of joy, but like so is your honesty. like in whatever form that is, like whether that's happy, angry, of course, like these are like top level emotions, but you know, happy, angry, it's just as natural and as normal as you being hungry, right? As you
Yes.
as you craving rest. Like it's the same thing. Like there, all of that is precious. And so I really appreciate you sharing that. Thank you. I appreciate you sharing that. Yeah, there are a lot of thoughts that I have. I'm sorry. I'm just like all of you all talking. I'm just like, oh my gosh. Like I have so many thoughts. But thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Anybody else want to share? Anyone feel led to share anything? Yes, please, Marissa T. Thank you. Oh, you're muted. Sorry.
No, that's okay. It wouldn't be a garden meeting if I didn't do that. Happens every time. But one thing that has stopped me from creating is like thinking like all the way to the end of the process, like how are other people gonna understand this, and like feeling like I need to figure out like how to make whatever it is I'm making be understandable. I don't really, it's okay if you don't like it or whatever, but I just like, because it's so like strong of a way of expressing for me, I just want to so badly be understood. And then social media has added like an extra layer to that because people don't actually know you and they can't like feel your energy or your vibe, and so you have to like in this caption like don't make it too long but don't make it too short, explain yourself, and almost like a portfolio and a view of you, but like you're so much more than just like this little snapshot of you. And that has been really challenging, and just getting, I get like in this like mental loop of trying to like before I make the work make sure that whatever I'm putting out there, people are going to fully get it, and that has slowed me down so much. But I feel like I'm slowly like beginning to talking to all the people that I talk to now in the garden and the friends I have made, realizing that if I get it, there's somebody else out there that will get it, and if I get it, that's enough.
Yes. Yes, you will. Yes.
A word for the people. If I get it, it's enough. Yo, that, right? So not even focusing on out there, but here, right? Like, and I do think I think that's true. Like, I think that all the artists that I love, so like, I like artists like Frank Ocean. I don't know if y'all, Frank Ocean is like one of my favorite artists. Okay. Yes. So his music is so authentic and like, it's felt, it's felt. And yes, like the words are awesome. He sounds amazing, but it's interesting, and I feel like it's a specific kind of person that listens to his music, where it's not going to be mainstream or on the radio. It might be like one song. I think a tornado flew around my room. That one song, that was on the radio, right? But everything else is more like, oh, this is more like experimental. This is more like a diary. This is more of like venting, and I imagine for him, it seems like he was healing through his music, and for people who get it, they get it. You know what I mean? Like people who get Frank Ocean get Frank Ocean. People who get whatever artist gets them. And what I love is that it seems like he gave himself permission first to create the things that he wanted to create, make it sound the way he wanted to sound, you know? And after that, prioritizing that and then putting it out there, those people found him. Like, oh my God, yes, like this. Like you're putting words, you're putting voice and vocal, whatever, to how I feel. Like he's another one who does like, he might scream on a track or something, or just like, like just randomly, but it's still, you still feel it. And I think that when you're creating something authentically, like in your spirit, when it's authentic, it's going to be felt. Like it's going to be felt. Like that's not the job. Our job is not to try to reel people in or get people to understand it. It's like to understand ourselves and to be authentically ourselves. Right. And like you're saying, like, if you get it, that's enough. And it is. And when and if you share whatever you want to share, like the other people who resonate with it will resonate with it. But that we do ourselves a disservice trying to, and because of social media and all this other stuff, like trying to be palatable and, you know, trying to come up with like, oh, is this branded correctly? Am I, you know, is this long enough? Like, am I showing up how I should be showing up? All these different rules, it really makes us filter ourselves and waters us down, right? Like it makes us into these carbon copies of each other, like whether on purpose or not, because we're trying to please algorithms, we're trying to, trying to be seen, trying to get people to get it. But I think, like, again, we are more sacred than machines. Like we're more like, machines don't understand art, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like these algorithms were created by people, some of them who are not artists. So then, but does that mean that we should not still share our art authentically and honestly? Does that mean that we should not express ourselves authentically and honestly? No. Like, because the people, like, I find people every day that I'm just like, oh my gosh, yes, thank you. Thank you for being honest and talking about social media, right? Like, because I thought it was just me. No, it's not. Like, I think spirit, soul, all that good stuff is felt no matter what the platform is. Like, you're going to resonate with what is in you, what you see yourself in, like what you were talking about, like seeing yourselves in each other, seeing yourselves in art. So Marissa T, yes, thank you. I'm sorry, I'm just like on a I'm on a tangent, but I completely resonate with that and I agree with that. Thank you for sharing that. Like, thinking about how it's going to be received really does slow us down. And I think that if we're prioritizing creating honestly and authentically, not about speed or production or getting a lot of stuff out there, but like what is felt is going to be felt. What is real is going to be felt. So yes, thank you. Thank you for that. Anybody else want to share? Yes, please. Please.
I think for me, what got in the way a lot of the time was imposter syndrome and not feeling credible. And then I'm losing my thought. And it feeling serious enough or feeling worthy enough of my time, right? Feeling like I should be doing something more productive instead. But with the imposter syndrome and the credibility, that's just, I think, a side effect of society. And then coming from the corporate world where I don't have this title. But even deeper than that, seeing people with the title of writer, creator, etc., and having certain credentials behind their names and having certain works of like a certain level, didn't feel like I should give myself that label because I'm not there. And I still struggle with that a little bit, but I just do it anyway. And I'm like, if anybody has a problem with it, whatever, it is what it is. I think there's a spectrum, right? There's writers who people think are good, writers who people think are bad, whatever. They're writers though. But as far as it feeling worth is not productive or feeling worth the time, I think I'm past that, because I think at this point I use creativity as like a survival tactic. Like I have to do it or I'm going to go insane. So I've gotten past that part, but I am working on or trying to work on the credibility piece or the imposter syndrome piece. It's gotten a lot better with the garden for sure. And a lot of the content that you talk about, Alecia, with labels and just saying, if you write, you're a writer. If you create, you're a creator, whatever. Like, it's not that deep. That's helped a lot. But just when it comes to introducing myself in that way to other people who may not have that mindset, it still bugs me a little bit. It's still hard, but I'm getting there.
I love that. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. First of all, congrats on improving, like, even just like owning it. Like, yes, I'm a writer, period. Like, yes. That's what, when I saw your name and I saw like Lavendula the writer, I was like, yes, like, you better own that title, like, for real. And for a reason, that's why I call myself the artist, because for a long time I did not own that label. Like, I was like, well, I don't know, I make stuff, like, I create things, but I'm not really an artist, because there's this idea of what artists should look like or what they should be doing, how they should be showing up, what they should be wearing, like, where, like, these kind of things. And so I think even with that, like, I feel you, like, this, like, oh, well, I can't own that because I'm not like this person. And it's like, well, no, but you don't have to be that person to be that, right? Like, they're them, just be you in whatever way that looks like and shows up for you authentically. So I love that. You talking about labels and credibility, right? This idea of, like, who determines who has created the credentials, right? Like, and do we have to follow what they say? Who is they? Like, who are the they people? You know what I mean? Like, why are we, and this is not to you because I do the same thing, right? But, like, why do we, these imaginary people or, like, real people in our lives who say the same thing that they've heard, we cut down ourselves believing these people and these rules, and it's like all this stuff is made up. Like, all the things are made up, especially, like, even in the artist world. Shout out to everybody who studied art, like, at a college. That's amazing. But I also understand that, like, the people who determine what is credible, what is good, are usually people who don't look like me, like who don't sound like me, who don't create art the way that I do. And so because I'm living in their system, we have all been indoctrinated with what is important, what is valid. And for a lot of times we're already counted out because of who we are, you know, how we show up, how we look, how we sound, all these different things. And so once I realized that like, this is all a lie. All of this is fake. Like I keep thinking about that meme with with Carly Red from Love and Hip Hop. It's like it was all a lie. But seriously, like all of this has been a lie. Like this it's a lie, but it's also evil because they know it's not true. They will say that your art, that your creativity is not good enough, and then use your creativity in your art without giving you credit for it. They'll take it and sanitize it like to death, and it's not even soulful anymore. It's just something for you to make money off of, to profit off of. And so I think they do a good job at that because there's so many dreams, and it makes me sad. There's so many dreams and so many visions that people have that are not brought to life because the indoctrination is working. This idea of being an imposter, like I had to sit with that. Like what is imposter syndrome? Like what is that? Like where is that coming from? And of course, a lot of it is societal, right? Like these people who make the rules. But also, why do I feel like I'm an imposter for being myself? Like how am I an imposter and I'm myself? If I'm not trying to be like anybody else, I can't be an imposter, right? Like, and so I think because I still feel imposter syndrome, when I check myself and be like, Alecia, you're being yourself. Are you creating honest work? Are you being authentic? Are you trying to be somebody else? Then yes, you are an imposter, right? Like that's why I feel like I have imposter syndrome, because I'm trying to be palatable to other people. But when I sit there and I'm like, I'm being myself, there's no way that I'm an imposter. I'm the only me that there ever will be, right? And so if that is the case, then like I'm not taking nobody else's slot. And it's not even to say like, oh, I'm better than, I'm just different. Like I'm in a whole different category. I'm in my own lane. I'm in competition with nobody. I'm not an imposter. I am myself. And so when I sit and have those conversations, have a heart to heart, like, Alecia, listen, we got this. It's okay. Right. When I come out of that, then I feel less like an imposter. And I'm like, okay, there are other fears, obviously. But I think that feeling of being an imposter, we've been taught that because again, we come out the womb knowing who we are. We know who we are. We know what we like, what we don't like, but we're playing pretend for people to make other people feel good enough. We make ourselves small because other people are saying I'm better than you. And it's strategic. It's like, it's their plan. Like there's nothing wrong with us. It's their plan. Anyway, so there's a whole thing there, but Lavendula, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. That's huge. Yes, please.
I want to add also, well, not the same for y'all, but for me, age, especially on social media, it's youth based, and you'll see some older ones, but we're put in a box of how an older person should look like, how they should act like. And of course, you should have some kind of maturity when it comes to certain things. But some people just, you have to grow up on certain things. But also, they try to make us get older than how we feel inside. Sometimes you can look in the mirror and you look one way, but inside you still feel like that little girl who want to go out there and just jump. And it's true. They take away playfulness from you at an early age, and they think when you get older you can't be playful anymore, you can't be silly anymore. That's still in us. There's a time to be serious and there's time to play. It's a time to know when to be a certain way because maturity is needed. But sometimes just because you're silly does not mean you're not mature. And just because you question yourself and you got gray hair doesn't mean that you don't know yourself. You're still getting to know yourself, because taking like all that that all that stuff that may be happening to you does not go away just like that. It takes time. It takes time to get over certain things. It gives time to let go some things. Some things you're not going to get over. You just learn how to cope with, and move on and keep going. But just because you get older does not mean you don't have feelings, does not mean you know everything, does not mean you're always going to have the right answer. It doesn't mean that, okay, I got it going on. Sometimes I got it going on, and sometimes I'm tripping all over the place. So, it's age. And sometimes age can hold you back. Well, nobody want to hear me because I'm older. Nobody want to, whatever. I don't know. But age can be also a factor that hinders your creativity. But once you push that aside and realize, hey, I'm still an adult, but the inner girl in me, I'm gonna let her play sometimes. She can't always take control. That was a problem in the past. She always took control. And when a little girl and you take control, you can never grow up. You can never grow up. But once you let her have her place and you two come together, it's beautiful. And that's what I'm learning, how to come together with the inner child and be me, whether people get me or not. And I have my days when I get to have my doubts, but the more I go on, and this has helped me so much, and all the things that helped me, the stronger I get to be who I am and simply Shari. And I'm enjoying it more and more every day. So that's all I want to say.
Yes, thank you. No, I appreciate. Thank you for sharing that and sharing that perspective too. Ageism is a huge deal, right? Like this idea of like, especially for women, like women are not allowed to age. Women are not allowed to, do a lot of stuff in the realm of patriarchy and all that other stuff. And I do think, sadly, it makes me sad to know. I mean, first of all, ageism shouldn't exist. Period. Misogyny, misogynoir, all those different things shouldn't exist. But it amazes me to see even how that permeates even creativity, right? How it permeates like everyday life and living. It's not just about, sadly, this culture we live in does not honor our elders. They don't honor aging. They honor youth. They idolize youth, right? And sadly, we have so many women. We have so many women afraid to age. Like, so even though you're talking about ageism, like, I'm sure we've all felt it as women. Like, oh, am I, like, no matter what age we are, like, I'm 33 and I'm like, oh, at 25, I had like this quarter life crisis because I'm like, oh, my life is over. Like, what? Like, at 25, like, the pressure is felt throughout. Like, and it makes me sad that women feel, because of how they're treated, to be clear, it's not in their minds. Like, women feel that what they have to offer does not matter. That it's not important. That makes me sad because it's like, no, like, y'all are the ones though. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're the ones, like, you're the ones that we are looking up to. You're the ones that we're in community with. And yeah, there's a lot of things there. And I'm sorry that you've experienced those things. I'm sorry that you felt like your contribution doesn't matter. Because it does. Do you have something you want to say? Sorry.
Oh no, I was just thinking.
Okay.
I was thinking about different things, and I'm realizing. Actually, I was thinking of an experience I had, and I think I'll hold that thought. It's a wonderful feeling when you get around other women, and they know you're older, but they treat you like another woman. You know what I'm trying to say? Treat you like a person, where you can be a person. And I remember hanging out with some two friends, and they were younger than me, and it was like, one of them said, you want to ride a scooter. I've always wanted to ride a scooter, but I was like, I'm too old to ride a scooter now. But then I'm like, no, I couldn't walk. I know my knees were bad. I couldn't walk where I wanted to go. But she said, hey, a scooter. Got in that scooter. I'm telling you, if you have not ridden a scooter, you got to ride it one time. It is so freeing. I'm like, oh my goodness. I was the oldest person out there, but I didn't care. I was just flying in the breeze. I was just going. I fell. I hit a pole. Because you have to learn how to navigate, and your distance and everything. But I was flying across, and I crossed the grass or cobblestones down the street. And I was being careful, but it was like so freeing. And I told myself, well, that was one time. Then I'm thinking, no. Of course, now I have to be a little more careful than I was when I was younger, because when I break bones, I'm not going to heal the same way. But what's stopping me from writing again, or stopping me for trying different things? I just have to do it a little differently than I did when I was younger. But I always think about that time when I wrote that scooter. I just come alive inside and was like, wow. And I tell anybody, if you're scared to do something, at least try it once. Just try it once. And it will free a certain part of you,
Yes. I love that. Thank you. I love that. That's beautiful. Also, people in comments are cheering you on, by the way. So, so I don't know if you can see it, but yes, we are here for it and here for you.
It was fun. I'm telling y'all, girls, it was fun.
and it's like, And isn't it something like we stop living sometimes because we think like we've reached this point in life, like, oh, I can no longer live anymore. And it's like, no, like, yes, thank you for like, yeah, talking about like, yeah, it might have to be different, right? But you still get to live, like you still get to do things. Yeah. So thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that. Oh, yes. Jocelyn Shaw says, play is so good for the spirit, for the soul. Play. Yes. Play. Play. Yes. Oh, you got fans.
Oh, no. Oh, I can't really see. I don't have my
Oh,
glasses
it's okay.
on,
Oh, yes.
I can see a little bit.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, this
My
comment
reading
says, I
glasses.
love her. So, so
Listen.
yes. Yes. Thank you for
Everything's so
sharing
interesting.
that.
I didn't want to leave to go get my glasses.
Oh, no, it's all good. You're all good. Thank you.
No,
Appreciate that.
I love this. I love this.
Yes,
Yes.
me too. I'm having a great time. I am.
Mhm.
I am. Anybody else want to share anything that gets in the way of their creativity? Dani, you go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to continue that conversation on ageism and also answer your question about roadblocks to creativity. Um, so they go hand in hand with me. I was raised by my great grandmother, who I shared with you all. Her name was Ladybug, and I constantly try to honor her. And she would always encourage me to write. And she was someone I always felt safe around. And I really valued her wisdom. And as I got older, I realized how precious and unique that is to grow up around that generation, a great grandparent. And so when I graduated with my master's, I was 22 years old and I was the youngest person in my cohort. And this was during the pandemic. And she was able to, I got to have a picture with her, and she was on her front porch on the rocking bench, and like she was just smiling so big with my high school diploma, and then she had my master's diploma, and then a few months after that she passed. But in the workforce, I have always, and even because of growing up in the Baptist church, this idea of respect your elders, I've always held that near and dear to me. However, in the professional world, that is not appropriate always, probably most times, because there are certain, and even not even in the professional sense, but sometimes having your elders, just saying someone who's older than you and having that spiritual definition of elder, like that is a very that is a place of honor, and every person who is a certain age shouldn't just have that. So someone like Shari, I put her right next to where I put my ladybug, because I admire the work that I see their life, like the choices they've made in their life. And that is what an elder means to me. Like there's this fixed mindset, growth mindset. Shari gives me growth mindset. Like even in moments like the scooter situation, was beautiful story, because you could have stayed in a fixed mindset, which would have been valid, of my bones can't do all of that. And that would have been valid. And also you chose a growth mindset because there's something in you that was yearning and desiring a fun experience and adventure. And you have faith and trusted, what, this is my body, my temple, and I'm going to trust it to be able to handle this experience that I'm looking for, because I see an opportunity, right? And so like acceptance versus judgment. So those are some things that really block me, is judging myself. And I have had a lot of really influential elders in my life, and being so young, I was influential. And so as I'm growing up, I recognize I might make a mistake or be human. And then I'm automatically judging myself. Like, you should have known better. Remember what such and such told you about this and that. And they told you shouldn't have been that open with people you didn't know that well. Like, all these different responses that I received from my elders, when they say it, I'm filtering, oh, they're saying it in this way, in this tone, but I still felt their love. But then when I'm doing it to myself, it's like, whoa, you know how old we are, and we know, between me, myself, we know what we knew at that time. We know more now. So are we going to give grace and move on? Or are we going to stay in this space where we're not feeling better because of how we're talking to ourselves? Like, so that's when I say slowing down. That's something I need to do to allow myself to be aware of these things that are going on. Yeah, because otherwise that fixed mindset is like, it's a cycle of doing the same thing, and it's not really benefiting you, and you literally don't see options because you're not searching for other options. Versus growth mindset, it's literally the opposite of that. You are aware and acknowledging there's something you're wanting, and then you start seeing the opportunities of being able to access that around you. So, yeah.
Yes, thank you.
I'm not gonna
Thank
cry.
you so much. Yes. Yes. I love that, Dani. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah. Yes. Vicky, did you want? I thought you unmuted. Did
I
you want to?
did.
Okay. Yes.
Look at the gardening, because I wrote down integration. Someone said that. Judging, boom, Dani. Like, it's just everybody is right on time. For me, I guess what was holding me back is in order for me to testify, I have to be completely healed. And so I want to tell the story from the healed Vicky that doesn't have any issues. I already passed through that. Not, hey, y'all, I'm in this with you. I'm going through this process with you, because you have to be the expert. And so my healing journey isn't linear. It's like whack-a-mole. I hit one thing, 5 pop up. I hit another thing, boom, 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 boom. So that's what's been happening for me. So it's really hard to try to okay, this is going to be the brand. This is going to be the tract. This is going to be, whoa, plot twist. I didn't see that coming. And so it's like I have to continue to live life and do this human experience while I empower and help other people. And I'm just trying to get me together. So it's not as man, how social media paints this picture of what healed looks like. I'm on the beach, and you could be here too if you would just do these 3 things. And girl, I did those 3 things. I'm still not on that beach. And it's it's so hard. And it's that just be you comment. It's I spent so much of my life wanting to be someone else. So now you're telling me to be myself. Who is that? I'm still trying to figure and paint that, to be. So it's in my process of integrating the child me, all of these pieces of me, and saying, you know what, you're okay, you're acceptable. That's been the journey that I've been on, recovering from people pleasing, recovery. And so I'm in my journey, I'm in my process, and it's how can you launch, when I'm still trying to, figure things out for me? So that's that big thing for me, testifying while I'm still going through it and celebrating the small wins, because there's wins.
Mm-hmm.
I don't usually see the wins if it's not the huge, thing. So that's kind of, I say all that to say, y'all, I'm testifying, even if I'm not on the completely healed list, but I'm still going to testify while I get there.
No. And actually, how many people are healed?
Hello? I was just about to say.
I was like, how many people are healed? Some are just a little healed, a little better. Oh, I just want to make one exception. I didn't fall. I just realized on the scooter. The scooter fell. I didn't.
Okay.
But anyway.
Okay.
I caught it. I didn't want to fall. But no, how many people are healed? I'm telling you, girl, write your story. Everybody here has a voice. I mean, I think I heard a little bit of everybody's voice here. Y'all can write. So write your stories, heal or not heal, and while you're healing, write those stories. I mean, I'm telling you. And my story is going to come out. It's going to come out. Watch.
We are ready.
Okay.
I know.
I'm waiting.
I know.
Mhm.
I'm like, whoa. Came late, yes. Marissa T. You're talking about the mute. I'm trying to figure out this whole social media, going in and going out and stuff like that. Miss some other things, but you know what? I'm here and I'm loving it. Yes, loving it. Always leave here just, yeah.
Same. This is giving me everything. I do want to respect you all's time. But I do, a lot of y'all said a lot of things. I have this, first of all, I needed a bigger piece of paper than this. But Dani, when you were talking about the definition of elder, what makes an elder, right? It's not just age. Yes, for me, I do respect older folks no matter what, but there is a difference between someone who is older than me than someone who is my elder, right? And I think that there is that it's important that we distinguish the difference between the two, because for me, there is an expectation that comes along with becoming an elder, right? And I'm trying to become, I want to be a good elder, like when I become an elder, right? And so I think that there are certain expectations, certain things that people should be doing. Unfortunately, it has been my experience that a lot of folks who are older are not necessarily elder. Some of them are competitive with me. Some of them are cruel to me. Some of them want to keep pushing forward what has been, even at the cost of other people, their own peers. And so for me, that's not necessarily an elder. I think that's really important to point that out, and I appreciate you pointing that out. Vicky, girl, you talking about testifying while you're in it. That is it's freeing when we realize we don't like where is this like healed place that everybody has retired to, and they're no longer working through anything. Like seriously, like this question of, because if we're waiting for that, we'll never do anything. If we're waiting for this version of ourselves we'll never do anything. We'll always feel unworthy. It's a question of worthiness. And the question that is even in my, what I think is mess, even in my flaws, even in my falling apart and not having it all together, in my making a mistake, in me stumbling, am I worthy? Am I still worthy of being seen? Am I still worthy of being heard? Right? Am I still valuable? And it's like, yes. Like the answer is yes, by the way. The answer is yes, but it's still like the question that we ask ourselves, like, am I allowed to show up authentically as myself? And to that, I even say yes, because it's freeing to me when I see other creators being like, yo, I'm struggling today. You know what I'm saying? Like this is like, not that I want bad things to happen to people, but I like when people are real and honest. Like, oh my God, thank God, I'm not the only one. Okay, cool. Right. And I never, to free myself from the bondage of having to be perfect, I never say I'm an expert. I am not an expert on anything. I'm not even an expert on myself. I'm learning new things about myself every single day. Right. And so, so like for me to assume the responsibility of being the expert, of the one who knows everything, is cruel to myself. It's cruel to me, and it's not true. Like, I'm open to learning. And I think when you approach certain things that way, when you approach even your creativity, whatever you're doing, in the way that like, yeah, I'm a fallible human being. And even still, I'm still showing up and doing the thing that frees you to be able to do more. That's how it feels for me anyway. Like, okay, we're not perfect, so the pressure's off. Like, I don't have to be perfect, so we're gonna show up and try anyway, you know? So I appreciate that. Did anybody else want to share anything before we start to wrap up? Okay, no pressure. Anyway, this conversation has been amazing. Thank you all for being here. I really appreciate you coming, and for coming last minute. I appreciate that. Thank you for being willing to be my community. It really means a lot to me. Thank you so much for being here, for being so generous and so vulnerable and open. Yes, so vulnerable and open with each other, so supportive. It does my heart so well when I see you all supporting, collaborating with, working together, helping you all bring each other's dreams to fruition. Like the event that Marissa Price and Marissa T and Lavendula, like you all put on, like that was amazing, and I needed it. And during the time I was grieving my great aunt passing, and so I wasn't able to stay for the whole thing, but from what I saw, like it was beautiful, it was amazing, and it was just what I needed. And so it makes my heart happy to see Black women, Black creative women coming together and like creating together. Because this idea of like competition is not real. Like there is no competition. We all win. Like we all have room, and it's healing to me to see that collaboration instead of competition from what I'm seeing, because the competitive thing isn't even from us. Like, let's be real. Like Black women competing against each other, we didn't come up with that. That was created for us. Like somebody lied and said, there's only a few of you that can make it, so have at it. You determine who's gonna. There's none of that. What I love about being in community with Black women who are abundant and open, and even Black women who are still struggling with that, right? Like there's still room for that as well, is that there is room for all of us, and all of us are honored. And what I was going to say about like people coming in who still struggle with that competitive nature is that you see them start to soften, like, oh, I don't have to, oh, okay, you want to, I guess, right? Like this, like, can I trust this? You know what I mean? I love seeing that, and then be like, yes, you can trust this, because I'm not out to get you. I'm not out to harm you. And And so this whole experience has been really healing for me. And shout out to everyone who was in the garden who is not here. Shout out to you. We love you. We see you. Thank you so much for being a part of it. And as we close, I do want to ask you a question. If you can look back 10 years ago to yourself, 10 years ago, what advice, like how old was I? What advice would you give yourself 10 years ago? Please. Oh no. Hopefully she'll come back. But yes, anybody can share 10 years ago. For myself, I guess I'll start. For myself, I would say you're perfect as you are. You don't need to be fixed. Ooh, I feel like I'm gonna cry. You don't need to be fixed. And also, like, you're enough. You're enough. You're chasing for value and self-worth outside of yourself, and it's been with you the whole time. Like, you have been lovely, beautiful, brilliant this entire time, even if other people can't see it. That's what I would say to myself 10 years ago. So yes, please, Dani, please share.
I would tell myself that vulnerability is my strength, and other people not understanding it it's not my business. Like, save yourself and know that every time you show up vulnerably, that is a strength that many people might not recognize as a strength, and that's not your business. Use all that vulnerability for yourself. Don't go find a career and try to specialize in being vulnerable for other people or allowing other people to feel safe to be vulnerable. Use all that vulnerability for yourself, because you'll need it in the next 10 years. You'll need that strength for yourself. So yeah, that's what I would say.
I love that, Dani. And I needed to hear that. Thank you. Anybody else want to share?
Yeah, I can share. So what came to me is you are your own best thing, right? You don't have to seek validation in people, places, and things. Your value is inherent, and you're your own best thing.
I love that. You're your own best thing. I love that. Thank you. Anybody else want to share? Yes.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Forgive
It's okay.
me. For that phone call that came to us, my mom.
Oh, it's okay. Listen, no apologies necessary. This is life, okay? This is life. It's fine. It's completely fine.
I pushed mute and she came back again.
Listen, you got to answer your mom, okay?
I know, but
it's all good.
I told her, but I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's all good. Yes. Thank you for coming back. Thank you. Anybody else want to share what they would say to themselves 10 years ago?
Okay, I can hop in.
Yeah.
The way people treated you is not a reflection of your worth. You are valuable.
A word for the people. Thank you, Vicky. Anybody else want to share theirs? Yes, Lavendula, go ahead. Oh, yes.
I would say you do fit in, and there are spaces that are accepting of you. You just have to find those spaces and be yourself. It's safe. Don't work as hard. So I worked way too hard. I think I worked way harder than I needed to try to meet expectations that were placed on me that I never really wanted for myself. And you have a gift, I would say. I think we all do, but I didn't know 10 years ago that I had a gift. So.
Thank you so much for that. I'm writing down. So all of you all listening, please, if you need to write these down, please, because this is like penetrating my heart. I needed to hear this. Like be yourself, you're safe. Yes. Yes, go ahead, please. Yes.
Yeah. I would say to myself, I always had a voice, even though it went unheard and unanswered with other humans, but it never went unheard and unanswered with my belief in God and with God. But also I would have told myself, you have wings and they're not broken. People may tell you they're broken and people may try to break them, but they always worked. You just have to learn how to fly and fly at your own pace. Yeah. That was it.
Yes, that was it. Like, but yes, that was beautiful.
I see you, Dani.
Yes. Thank you for that. Thank you. Marissa T, would you like to share? Oh, oh, you're on mute. Sorry. So sorry.
Of course I am.
No, it's okay.
But yeah, I was saying I wish something profound was coming to me, but the only thing that is coming is just no matter what, I love you. Like there's nothing that you can do to change that. I love you forever.
Yes. Oh, I love
That's
that.
it.
That made me cry. You talking about that's not profound. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you, Marissa T. That's beautiful. Ooh, yes. So thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for being vulnerable, for being so kind and generous. I'm hoping that everyone listening has gotten something from this. I know I have. And I do want to ask you all if you want to share. If you want to share, if you have anything to share that you want to share with the people, you all have shared beautiful words already, so much of yourself. But if you have anything that you want to promote or share or promote from somebody else, something that you're listening to, you're reading, this is your time to share all the things. Yes, and I will be providing links also. So while you're talking, I'm listening. I'm just looking up links that I probably should have copied before, but please share all your things. And I'll go in order so we can. So Dani, you can go first if you like.
Well, I just want to promote what has been helping me, and that's going to be on this list. But the box. I'll just use my time to uplift Lavendula.
Yes.
I have given this to my coworkers. I ordered multiple copies because I knew in advance I might want to hand this over to somebody after a deep conversation of, I feel you, girl, leave that job, here's a book. So yes, that's what I'm gonna use my time for. Your book as well, Black Girl Creative. Both of those books, I just bought them on Amazon together. Now Marissa Parai, so I'm gonna add your book to the list. So yes, all of those things help me so much. Just to have them by my bedside, have them when a copy at work, one copy in the car, like. But yes, thank you for this time.
Of course. Thank you, Dani. And thank you so much for sharing that. I just shared Lavendula's or Tay's book in the comment section. So the link should be there. You should be able to click that. So thank you so much, Dani. Yes. Yes. Love it. Love it. Marissa, you can go next, please.
Yeah, let's see. You can follow me on YouTube. I do have a YouTube channel, ImPriceMSW, Instagram, ImPriceMSW. My website is impricemsw.com too. And I also just wrote a book that I released yesterday, Cocoon Affirmations for Transformation. So, yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yes. I'm waiting for your book to read too. Yes.
Oh, wow. I want to read that. Oh, wow.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Marissa, for sharing that. I'm also going to share Marissa's channel. Give me 1 second. But yes, I just shared Marissa's. The book should be in the comment section. Let me repaste it because I feel like it got half cut off or something. But either way, okay. So that's that. So thank you so much, Marissa. And yes, the book of affirmations. You just need to sit with it, read it, contemplate, like meditate on it. It's so peaceful. I was sitting outside on the porch reading. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so nice. This is so nice. So thank you so much for sharing that. Of course, of course.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, Marissa T, if you could.
Yeah, I think I like what Dani did, so I'm gonna do something similar. I wanna say like the garden, if you can join in like this upcoming season. That was something that just like changed my life so profoundly. And also those 3 books, like the Black Girl Creative Manifesto, I think that's what it's called, Alicia's book, and then Cocoon, I just ordered it, it's on the way. I'm super excited for it to come. And then Tay's book, I read it like over and over again, and she just gives me words for so many of my experiences. And then also Marissa Price's like community that she has like for women starting businesses has been just like so helpful for me as well. I'm still very much like in the figuring out stage of things. So if you can like plug into one of those communities or like follow these women in other places, it has made such a difference. So I wanted to shout out those things. And that's it.
Thank you so much. Is it okay? It's okay. I was gonna. Is it okay if I share your? It's okay if not.
Yeah, I have a YouTube channel. I'm very much like
Okay.
exploring and
Okay.
in the exploration process. It's at enough by MNT if you wanna explore with me. You can.
Yay.
And then if you are into art at all, my website is the same, enoughbymnt.com. And if you go to the gallery there, all of my art is there, and I made it with Black women and Black families in mind. So it's for you. So check it out.
Oh, go ahead, girl.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Oh. And that's why I wanted to ask permission. I'm sorry. I was like, I should have asked this before, but yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Lavendula, please.
First off, thank you everybody for all the support. I have to say, and I feel like I've said it before, I don't know, but I want to make sure I say it. The garden is the reason why I released the box. Like being in this group is the reason I hit publish. I was in edit mode for months. I couldn't publish it. I couldn't do it. And this group kind of helped push me, to that final endpoint. So thank you for all the love and all the support. I owe you the love and support. It's a lot. But anyway, the link is in the chat, and then I have a URL where the book is, and as well as my social media. That's lavendulaonline.com. It's just a simple one pager. And then I do want to also shout out all the other content from this group. And I also think we're turning into a book club, but like as writers. And I love that. But first off, for sure, Alicia's book, but for sure, Alicia's music. I have been listening to your music nonstop, and the radio show, just all your content in general. It's all amazing. I love it. Check it out. Marissa P's book. I don't have it yet. It's coming in the mail, but I'm building my nice little bookshelf collection of Black women author books. So we're waiting on your book, Shari, and whoever else is going to release whatever. Let me know. I want to support. Yeah, that's all I have.
Thank you so much. And I didn't know that, but that's awesome. That makes me happy. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Vicky.
All right. Okay,
Yes.
so you can find me at Vicky All Day, Twitter and IG. And if there was any doubt, like the garden, I hope to see y'all soon. I hope to see y'all soon. Okay, season 2 is coming. So sign up today. But yeah, that's all I have for now. Oh, wait. Nice Girl Rehab is coming soon, like a little support group for my nice girls who are in recovery. And I'm working on a podcast.
Oh.
Yes. First of all, not you casually dropping this, but that's awesome. That's beautiful. And I'll be joining. I need to join. So thank you. I'm excited. That's awesome. That's awesome, Vicky. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, Shari, you can go next, please.
Oh, y'all all said it. Put the book back up again, Dani.
Yeah. Yes.
Put the book back up again. Yes. The box. Oh my goodness. That I saw no grammar. I saw no I mean, it's awesome. Dani, I'm waiting for your book because you can write, girl. Marissa, I will order your book. I'm supporting everybody's book here, and I can't wait to read it. Alecia, I order your book with Taze at the same time. I had Taze book on my my phone, but I want it hardback, so I can go back and underline and everything in a different kind of way. And just everybody, Vicky, Marissa, T, your art. I know it's that picture. I want to use it in my book. I really do. So many people here. I want to use a little bit of what you have to let you know how much this meant. And Vicky, girl, you need to show your face and show your humor more. Like, you go, girl. But no, next time you ask this question, Alecia, I will have my book. I like to think I have a book. If not, it would be in the process. I have written a lot and put it online. I just have not put it in a book form. And I did have a book out with some other two people. But what you said earlier, I was still learning. And I was going through a thing of I needed more control as well. But that experience helped me so much. And I also had to take pride in whatever mistakes was in that book or things I did not say or did not say right. It was just a beginning, but it's not the end. And at least when I said, like everybody said, the garden, Alecia, I would not have been here if I didn't see you on YouTube and all the things you have said and all the encouragement you have given for people and women of all ages who feel it, you know. So, hey, you know what? The garden, it rocks.
Thank you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I really appreciate that. And thank you, Shari. Thank you so much. I'm gonna put the link to the garden here if you're interested in checking it out. But you all have impacted my life so much. Like y'all don't even understand. I I'm really appreciative of all of you. I really am. And like people talk about the casual drops, you all are doing amazing things. Marissa T, you are so talented. Like, you're so talented. And I just be like, girl, like, I just be like, I want to, like, you're so talented. All of you all are so talented. Seriously. Like, it's really amazing to be surrounded by such prolific, creative, loving, and supportive women. It's something about that, like, that is healing. And even though, like, yeah, I'm facilitating the community, but I'm just creating the community, but you all are making the community. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be in there talking to myself, right? Like, if it was just if it was just me, but you all are actually creating this community. So thank you for being such a safe place for me and for everyone else that is there. Thank you all so much for being a part of this conversation. I really hope that we can do this again because this was amazing. And we didn't get through half of the questions. First of all, wrote like a bunch of questions, like 20 something questions, but I love that we took our time and we actually talked about a lot of the stuff that are listed without actually having to go through the questions. So this has been really nourishing. Shout out to all of you in the chat. I appreciate you all being here and being so supportive of these women, of yourselves and each other. Yes, they are. All these women are beautiful. So thank you so much. Yeah, I'm always awkward at goodbye, so it's not goodbye. It's see you later. And until next time, everybody, have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much. And I'll talk to you next time. Right,
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.